All right. Hope you guys hear me loud and clear. What's up, YouTube? Hope everything is good with you. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Just wanted to jump on live for a little bit and talk about some boxing news, some upcoming fights, and then I'll be right on my way. Real quick, salute to Boxing Beats and Rhymes. He's been putting out some, excuse me, he always put out some fire content, but he's been putting out some real good content. I mean, incredible. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Boxing Beats and Rhymes channel and check out the video on Terrence Crawford and Bob Arum. I think is one of his recent, it's like a two-part videos that he got out. Just really just breaking Bob down, going into the history, fighters he signed. You know, everyone is talking about Bob and Bud and whether or not Bud has a case. He brings up a lot of points that I forgot, you know, and this is why I said, you know, I didn't want to go dig too much into it because you don't know what's going to come up. You know, I think everybody's reading the actual suit and saying that this is not enough. And I think people should just kind of sit this one out. I mean, we boxer fans, so we're going to debate anyway, but his videos he did was really, really good, you know. But anyway, shout out to Boxing Beats and Rhymes. Definitely go out and check out his videos if you haven't already. What's up, Jorge? What's up, King Alfred? Shout out to everyone that's coming in. Make sure you smash the like button, share the video. All right, subscribe to the channel. So you know, today I wanted to do a quick video speaking on the fights this weekend between Gary Russell Jr. and Mark Magsayo. All right. This is not going to be a full breakdown. I'll probably do a full breakdown, probably release that within the next day or two. I just want to do a little bit more film study. I did a little bit this morning. I was watching I still have it up on the screen, Magsayo against Hermosillo. Okay, Hermosillo. All right. That was a couple of fights back where it was a split decision win for Mark Magsayo. Let me just pull it up real here. Rigoberto Hermosillo. Okay, it was a split decision win in 2010. And the reason why I looked at that fight specifically is because Hermosillo is a southpaw fighter. All right. Oh, no, I'm still, yeah, he is a southpaw. Okay. And Mark Magsayo fought against him. And it was actually a tough fight. It was actually a split decision win. And wanted to check it out to see if I see any flaws. I know most of us remember the Julio Ceja fight, which was like one of the best knockouts of the year, and actually one of the better fights of the year. Everybody remembers that fight from last year, all right? But there wasn't much to really compare when it came to Julio Ceja and Gary Russell Jr. You know, so this fight with Hermosillo was a recent fight. It's against a southpaw, and it's against someone that exposed a lot of flaws of Mark Magsayo. So if you're not really sure where to go, where you're going with this fight coming up here, definitely check that fight out. You know, definitely check that fight out. All right, so I wanted to speak on that. I wanted to speak a little bit on Donaire and Inoue. All right, they're working on having a rematch, and you know, that should be coming up in April. I think they're working on an April date for that fight. And then we'll talk a little bit about Fury and Dillian Whyte, and then we can move on. All right, going to be a short video. What's up, Baltimore Raps? What's up, Dirty Red? Smash that like button if you can. All right, so let's start out with before we get into Gary Russell, let's just start out real quick with Donaire in a way. Let's start with there because if you guys don't remember, I think it was back in like 2018, maybe 2019, where they had that classic fight. They had one of the greatest fights of that year. And these guys are working on trying to get another fight. Inoue is actually currently two title holder. He's unified. He's a WBA title holder, and he's the IBF. And then you got Donaire, who is the WBO, I believe. He's a WBO champion. All right. Or maybe the WBC. Let me check it out. Hold on. He's a WBC. Okay, he's a WBC. All right, so this fight, this rematch, is going to be of 3 of the 4 major titles. All right, so we're just waiting on that. And John Rio Casimero is the only other one. He's the WBO champ. Okay, and we knew that Donaire was trying to get that fight going. It kind of fell apart because of some, issues as far as drug testing. Okay, so it was issues. I think Donaire and his management, his team they were trying to enforce their drug test, and there was a lot of controversy and some things that were said from Casimero's team and against his Donaire's wife, and it got really messy. We saw Donaire online ranting about it. It was really messy. I mean, I did make a video on it, and I really didn't know where to go with it because I'm not gonna get mad at a fighter for really trying to enforce drug testing. Donaire's in his late 30s. He's pushing 40. If he's gonna lose a fight, I'm sure he doesn't mind losing. I don't think he cares about losing. He just wants things to be fair, and he's really trying to force it because he doesn't trust these drug organizations. And the problem is, you as a fighter, you can't enforce these things and the way the drug test did work the way you want it to work. But I understand his concern because a lot of guys are juicing behind the scenes. So it was kind of, I was kind of both ways with it. I didn't like the way I didn't like his approach really, but I understand what he was trying to do. Now, as far as everything, as far as like who disrespected who, I don't think that's a means to cancel a fight. I don't think that's really the means to cancel. I know we should be respectful, but my thing is, listen, if you feel disrespected, your wife was disrespected, like if you feel that way, use that anger in the ring. If the opposite, the opposing team is disrespecting you or your family, go beat them up. That's my views, because the boxers, they get disrespectful. They talk trash all day. I really wish that fight would have went down because whoever would have won the fight between Casimero and Donaire would have been unified already. They would have been unified right now. And then we would have went into a undisputed match against Inoue, the winner of that fight. But Donaire and Inoue and their team, they're trying to work for April date, all right, for their rematch. And it should be good. And, I'm still going to lean towards Inoue, because he's, he's the younger guy. He's a fresher guy. He won the first fight. He was able to drop Donaire and I believe did it go to the decision? Jesus, I can't remember. Did it go to a decision or was there a late stoppage in that fight? Did it go to a decision? Yeah, it did go to a decision. All right. I just know that Donaire got badly hurt late. So that's why I'm thinking of a stoppage. But definitely a fight that I look forward to even going back and watching again so I can do my own film study so I could do another breakdown. But hopefully they work it out. I think they should be able to work it out. It's supposed to be in Japan. All right. So I think everything should be good. Shout out to everyone that's coming in. What's up? No Soft Spot was good. Brooklyn's in the building. And Jorge was good. So, I'm leaning towards Inoue again. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop a Donaire. I think if he really wants to make an impression, you want to stop him. You beat him before. It was close. Yes, you got hurt. But I think in this point, you want to try to stop Donaire, and make people that don't believe in you, the doubters. There are some doubters out there. You want to make a stance and you want to put on a show, and the same thing for Donaire. I'm not particularly rooting for anyone in this fight. I like both fighters. I think if Donaire is to win, I think if he wins, it would be by knockout. All right. I don't see him beating Inoue on points, but I can see Donaire winning by knockout because he has one punch knockout power, especially at 118. I mean, Donaire is so crazy. He's even been talking about going back down to 115. For a fighter that went all the way up to 126, won titles, and has fought in these divisions when he was younger, moved all the way to 126 and worked his way all the way back down. He's already said, like, he's already called out fighters at 115. He's willing to go down to 115, which is crazy. So I think even if Donaire loses, unless he gets beat up really bad, if he gets destroyed by Inoue this time, I can see him retiring. But if not, I wouldn't be surprised if he loses and go back down again. You just never know. I mean, at that side, at that point, he would just be a weight bully at that point, going back down to 115. All right. But we got to just wait and see, I actually personally, Dirty Red says, I think Nonito can take Casimero. I personally believe that both Nonito and Inoue can beat Casimero. Okay. I think Casimero is very, very explosive. He has a lot of power, but he's a one-trick pony. Like you saw in the Rigo fight, which was a horrible fight, but he really showed in that fight that his punch selection is very limited. He didn't really have much to offer there. Yes, he can hit very, very hard. All right. But he's very limited at that, and I think guys like Donaire who have power and Inoue have power, all these guys at 118, all of these top dudes at 118 have power. They have knockout power. Donaire was able to hurt Inoue very, very bad in their fight. He lost the fight. He was dropped in the fight. He was hurt too. But Inoue, who's one of pound for pound's biggest punchers out there, was, he was able to, he was hurt and he was able to hurt Donaire. Casimero has a lot of power, but as far as boxing ability, he's not nowhere near Donaire or Inoue's level, in my opinion. I think either one of them this is the fight just to really determine. Of course, we got to see it. We have to see it get proven. But to me, these are the two top fighters at 118 for sure. No Soft Spot says Casimero is a dub. He's sloppy and can't cut off the ring. Absolutely. He couldn't cut off the ring. No Soft Spot says Casimero is a dub. He's sloppy. Yo, my phone just comes alive. Yo, how many times did this happen? I think it's because I leave it on the YouTube app and it just automatically comes on. Yeah, I think what was I saying? Yeah, he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have it to me. Yes, he's a good puncher, and I think against guys that's not really that good boxing wise, technique wise, I mean, he looks great, but if he fight a real fighter, if he steps up and fight Inoue or Donaire, I think he loses to both, and King Alfred says winning with a broken orbital bone is very is impressive. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, I got the UK teacup. This is the cup that I picked up while I was out there when I took a trip out there a couple years ago. Baltimore Rack says Rigo exposed him, and yeah, he kind of did. Rigo made the fight tough, but Casimero didn't know how to adjust. And he just kept following Rigo around, trying to throw the same punch. And I was like, yo, I mean, you're gonna go to the body, you're gonna change directions, you gotta do something to try to cut him off. You gotta do something, man, because the thing is with Rigo didn't have much neither. All right, but Casimero didn't have nothing there to adjust to. He just kept doing the same thing. And Rigo was like, I'm just going to try to win off just these pity pat punches and moving, landing one big shot every round or every other round. The judges didn't give it to him, but the judges basically gave the fight to Casimero based on his aggression alone, because it's not like he landed any clean punches. He didn't land many clean punches at all in that fight. Jorge says Donaire can still crack him. Power is the last thing to go. Absolutely. I think Inoue is going to try to put his foot on the gas early and try to take him out. The longer it goes, the better chance Flash has a chance of catching him with that left hook. And that's exactly what makes Um, this is what makes Donaire so dangerous, because he has one punch knockout power. And the longer the fight goes, like, Donaire can be dangerous at any given point. Donaire in recent fights, so not recent, just a history of his fights, he's had slow starts. Like, if you even you look at like the Darchinian fights, even back then, like, he's had fights where he kind of slowed, like he started off slow. So maybe Inoue should put the pressure on him early. Maybe he should come with something different. I mean, they both have experience on fighting each other now. So they know each other. They're familiar with each other, but you just got to wait and see. I think either fight, if you don't stop Donaire, he's dangerous at any given point of the fight. He can definitely hurt you at any time, without a doubt. Casimero does have decent angles, though. He showed it against Tete, but Donaire and Inoue are a level above. And yes, I agree with that. And you're absolutely right. He did show it in the Tete fight, and he does have some angles. But in that fight against Rigo, I think because of Rigo's movement, I think he couldn't really show what he can really do. The people that he fought before Rigo was usually standing right in front of him. So he was able to get in and throw those shots from different angles, where Rigo kept fighting on a back foot, changing directions, and just being annoying. He was just being frustrated. He wasn't really trying to attack. He was more trying to just frustrate Casimero. But you also got to win the fight. Like, you got to try to win. It's still a fight at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? No soft spot says, "Hey, yo, Wave, off topic. Who do you pick for Joshua Buatsi and Callum Smith?" That's right now, to me, that's a real 50-50 right now. That's a very difficult fight. I'm kind of just waiting to see more. To be honest, I really want to see more from Joshua Buatsi. I know people want him to get a title shot right now. I heard people talk and bring his name up when it came to like B-Bowl and stuff, and that's cool. But I'm just like a little bit unsure about if he can beat a Callum Smith. I don't know. I think that's a legit 50-50. That's something that I would really have to think. That's not something I can just answer on the spot. That's a legitimate 50-50 right now. Because Buatsi is not as experienced, but he has skills, he has talent, he has power. But I don't know. It's just too soon. It's just too soon. It's just too soon for me to call that one. I want to see a little bit more from him. I know people are pushing him up there with the top dudes already, but I just want to see him going. At least that Anthony Yard would be something that I can, and I probably can't even give you an answer with that, but at least with Yard, at least Yard has been in there with some, he's been in there with Kovalev, at least, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. He was able to avenge one of his losses. Buatsi, I'm just not sure, and he looks good, but I don't want to say that he's a future like champion yet. I don't know yet. I don't know. I think he's definitely, well, he's a contender now, but I think that he can definitely be a top contender. But as far as championship level, like, or world level, I'm not sure. Just like King Alpha said, I don't know if he's world level yet. I'm just not. I got to see a little bit more. Callum Smith, he won the World Boxing Super Series. He beat George Groves. He's had his fair of fights where I can say, like, I know where he's at. And I know he moved up to 175. But remember, Callum Smith is a really, really big dude. He was extremely big at 168. Obviously, it wasn't enough to beat Canelo, but he was a really, really big dude at 168. Probably the biggest dude at 168. And at 175, he's still bigger than the majority of those guys up there. And sometimes these guys will move down, or in divisions. Yeah, they'll move down because they can make the weight to be at that division. But sometimes when they move up, in different weight classes and they fight where they're not putting so much strain in their body to make the weight. Sometimes they come up so much stronger in the fights. Callum Smith might actually be better at 175. I knew he had a good tune-up fight against a good journeyman, a very good journeyman in his last fight, and he was able to get the early KO. But he might actually be stronger at 175. We just gotta wait and see. Anyway, yeah, so listen, when it comes to Inoue, when it comes to Donaire, I'm leaning towards Inoue, but hopefully they make the fight because we gotta get this. I think if everything works out and plays out right, we should have an undisputed champion at 118 for sure. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's move on to the next topic. Oh, shout out to last night I went to a little event here in Harlem. I went to a video game event with Nino Man, the rapper Nino Man, and Jadakiss was there. It was a good time, people was playing NBA 2K. They had Madden on. They had Tekken. They had Street Fighter. I was on a Street Fighter. But it was a little cool event. I am a gamer. I'm not a hardcore gamer anymore, but I like to play old stuff for sure. I do have an Xbox. I do jump on the Xbox. I've been playing Halo lately. But I am a gamer. But I had a good time at the event. Shout out to Nino Man. And Jadakiss was there. He was there, and it was a cool little event here. But I do play video games, but not crazy. But I'm on Xbox. I still didn't get me a PlayStation 5 yet. I'm still waiting for that one. All right, but cool little event last night. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Gary Russell against Mark Magsayo. And I love this fight because this is the first fight. This is the first fight since Gary Russell. No, probably the second fight since Gary Russell lost to Lomachenko. This is the first fight since he fought Jojo Diaz that I'm really interested in. Because every fight that he's had since he lost to Lomachenko were fights where I knew he would win. And I'm not saying that's his fault. I know people were ducking him. I know people were not trying to make a fight with him. He's only fought once a year at tops, and now he's recently went 2 years without fighting. He's 33 years old. He'll be 34 soon, and he's 2 years inactive. Okay. He's fighting Mark Magsayo, who's been very, very active. Even during the pandemic, he's been active. He has power. He's a great athlete. Filipino fighter, 26 years old. Good fighter, fun fighter to watch, right? Coming off some good wins, one of the craziest knockouts of last year. And he's going to fight Gary Russell. And I think this is a great fight. And let me tell you something. If Gary Russell is just a little too rusty, he might have a problem. He might. Prime Gary Russell Jr., in my opinion, and I'm not even sure if he's out of his prime. It's just that I'm just basing it off the fact that I haven't seen this dude fight in 2 years. Okay. And I haven't seen him fight anyone that had any kind of real chance of beating him, except Jojo Diaz. Diaz was the best guy to me in recent years. Mark Magsayo has a shot. All right. But if it was Gary Russell, to me, if it was Gary Russell, few years younger, active, I would pick Gary Russell. I wouldn't even hesitate to pick him. I would pick him. What's up, Young Hollywood? What's good? Ray Valero, what's good too? Make sure you guys hit that like button, everyone that's coming in. But yeah, I still am sort of leaning towards Gary though, for sure. I'm still leaning towards him because Mark, and I want to do a little bit more film study. I might change my mind. I'm giving Magsayo a good chance based on Gary's inactivity, and I feel like I think Gary, you just kind of been cruising so many years, and this is before he became a champion. All right, before that big fight with Lomachenko, Gary as a pro has always looked fantastic, right? At one point, I would say him, him and a few other fighters were probably top 2, top 3 fastest hands in the sport. But he always was in cruise control throughout his career, and I think it's kind of dangerous because you're getting now, you're pushing close to your mid-30s, and now you fighting younger fighters that are very explosive. Okay. Mark Magsayo has a lot of flaws, though. All right. Not good on defense. Very similar to Pacquiao. He does things I say, even though he's an orthodox fighter. If you watch his fights, there's, Pacquiao's is, one of his idols, and there's a lot of similarities there. I believe he's still with Freddie Roach. I don't know if he's still with. I know he's trained. He's had different trainers over the years. But there's some similarities there with Manny Pacquiao and the way that he moves, the angles that he throws his punches, his foot speed. Okay. There are some similarities there, but the defense is not really there. The head movement, the upper body movement is not really there. He likes to get low at times and stuff. He's good. He's pretty good. He has a good right hand pull counter. I think he has a very good left hook as well, but he's very explosive. He's like, he could be chilling and then out of nowhere, he's throwing 2-3 punches at you, hard, heavy shots. You got to watch out for him. All right. But he takes rounds off. I don't think his stamina is that great. All right. You've seen that in the fight with Hermosillo. I have to keep the fight up because I keep forgetting his name. The fight against Hermosillo, when he went the distance and it was a split decision, very competitive fight. He was getting hit to the body a lot, and he was slowing down. He gave up a lot of rounds in that fight. I want to watch some more of it, but I watched a majority of the fight, and that fight was a very close fight against a rugged, come forward guy that gave it to him tough. And then you had the Julio Ceja fight, which was from last year, where he was able to hurt and drop Ceja early. But then Ceja started to come forward, close the gap, all right, get in his space, attack the body, and Magsayo looked very vulnerable, all right, very vulnerable in these 2 fights. And you fighting Gary. Gary definitely likes to dig at the body, all right. Gary don't have the longest arm. Listen, he can fight. He has a good outside game. He's a good measured fighter, but he throws a lot of punches. I think he throws more punches than Magsayo. I don't know if he has a bigger punch, one punch, but he likes to throw in flurries. He likes to attack the body. He likes to mix it up. He has good angles, a good punch output, good accuracy, and I think he's the better talent overall. But Magsayo is younger. He's fresher. He's active. He's explosive. He has a lot of power, and you just can't sleep on him, because he has the power to turn the fight around quickly with one punch. So, and Gary, being that he hasn't been that active and being that he hasn't really had to get up for a fight, the guys that he's been facing, it's just like we know what the outcome is. And being that you only listen, we wanted to see the Leo Santa Cruz fight. We wanted to see the Josh Warrington fight. We wanted to see even the Shakur Stevenson fight would have been great. A Tank fight would have been cool. Some of the guys that won 30 fights would have been cool. There's a lot of fights that would have been good. When Frampton was up there, that would have been great. But I understand that a lot of these fighters did not want to fight Gary Russell Jr. Similar like that, a lot of them didn't want to fight Rigo when it was down at 122. A lot of these guys did not want to fight him. But him being inactive and, it was just cruise control all the way through. So now this is a fight that I feel that he has to get up for, and he has to be at his best, at his current best. And when you don't see a guy fight for 2 years, it's like, all right, he's just no tune-up. This is not a tune-up fight. This is a real fight. So you just got to wonder, like, all right, hopefully Gary's still in his bag, like he's in his A game, and he could come in here and do what he normally do. I think I'm right now I'm leaning towards Gary winning a decision. I think he's capable of stopping Mark, but I'm leaning more towards the decision for now. All right, I'm gonna play it safe when it comes to that. But I also feel that Mark, Mark has a power that can hurt him. We never seen Gary, like, even when he lost to Loma, he wasn't dropped in that fight. Yes, he was punished. He took a lot of punishment to the body and up top, but he never went down in that fight. All right. I don't believe he's ever been down as a pro. Uh, but Mark is young. Again, Mark is young. Gary's inactive. You just don't know. It could be a really, really good fight. I think this fight shouldn't be missed. I should be on Saturday live to do live commentary. I'm really looking forward of it. I don't know if I can cover the whole card. If I can, I will. If not, I'll definitely try to jump on for the fight. It's going to be on Showtime this Saturday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay. So, yeah, Brittany said he's never been down. I don't remember him, and even though, like I said, the Lomachenko fight, he took a lot of damage, but he still fought. He didn't stop. All right, he didn't stop. So Mark has the power though. So we gotta just wait and see how that's gonna go down. But I'm still leaning towards Gary Russell. I just think that it's not gonna be an easy fight, and he can get clipped if he, doesn't play his cards right. All right. So yeah, I should be here Saturday. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Just real quick, two things. Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte has been delayed again. I haven't been making too much content on them because we don't even know if they're really gonna fight. We're hearing that if the whole Whyte fight doesn't play out right and they can't get it to work out, Fury is most likely going to go on and take a tune-up against a Robert Helenius. Even though Robert is coming off one of his biggest wins in his career against Adam Konoski, he is kind of a tune-up for Fury at this stage, all right? We're not going to overrate that win. Fury is on a different level, and that will be the fight, or Emmanuel Char, which is like pretty much another tune-up. If Whyte doesn't happen, I would prefer Robert Helenius, but I don't believe that Robert really has anything for Fury neither. If it's just one of those two, all right. But that's the names that's come up so far. Look, and I've said this before. This is my stance on Dillian Whyte. I'm not saying Dillian Whyte is perfect. Dillian Whyte has messed up some situations. All right, he's not a complete victim. I just feel out of all of the people that has gotten title opportunities over the year, whether you're talking the WBC alone or including the other titles, but out of all of the guys that have gotten title opportunities before, I feel like Dillian Whyte has done a lot more than a lot of the fighters that both Joshua and especially Deontay Wilder has fought. And I hope that everything works out because I want to see the fight. I think Dillian Whyte has done enough to deserve and earn to have earned a title fight. All right. So I want it to work out. I know people are going to bring up Luis Ortiz. I know people are going to bring up the fact that he didn't fight Joshua in a rematch. I know people are going to bring up the fact that he was knocked out by Povetkin. Even though he avenged that loss, people are going to still bring it up, and that's cool. To me, I personally think Whyte needs to go for it. Even, Sanders says Whyte should take that 20%. He may never have the chance to fight for a world title again if he is declining. And I agree with you. And I've said that before. As far as how I personally feel about who should get what, being that this is going to be a UK pay-per-view thing, I know Dillian Whyte is good and he's proven as a pay-per-view fighter out there. All right. But I still believe at the end of the day, listen, everything is against you. People will respect it, even if it's 20%. And I know it's different from me because I'm not the one that's getting involved and I'm not the one that's in there. I understand that. But I just think that, listen, if this is the opportunity, if this is what you have to do to get this fight against Tyson Fury, who is definitely the cash cow or the not the pay-per-view, he is the man right now. He's earned much more than you in his fights. Just make it happen. You know, I think you should get a little bit more, but this is your opportunity, man. You know, don't make it too difficult, because if you make it too difficult, you're never gonna get a title fight again. You're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get it. You know, and then you got guys that's on a prowl. You got a lot of guys. I made a video the other day about Philip Hergovich. You know, you got Tony Yoka out there. You know, you got guys that's coming up. You got Joe Joyce. All right, he's a beast. You got Daniel Dubois. You got a lot of these guys that's on the come up right now on your heels. We don't have time to play around. Like, if you have a title opportunity at heavyweight ever at any given time, you got to take it, because the titles are changing hands quickly these days. There are so many mandatories. There's so many rematch clauses, because a lot of these guys are big. So there's rematch clauses. There's so many things that hold up this division. And if you have an opportunity to fight for a title, you got to take it. You know, you have to take it. La Vida Boxio, is there another route? Says, is there another route for him? I feel like the WBC is missing. This is the thing. There was another route for him. All right. At the time where Joshua was looking for an opponent, before he chose Andy Ruiz, when Luis Ortiz and his team declined, Dillian Whyte declined a rematch to fight Anthony Joshua. This was just 2 years ago. Well, going on 3 now. All right. So he's had other opportunities. And this is why I said there's no other opportunity, because the winner of Joshua and Usyk 2, not only are they trying to push for undisputed, but they have mandatory obligations to me, because you got all of these guys. You got these guys that are mandatories, and you got these title fight eliminators that's scheduled. We don't have time. They don't have time over there to make a fight for Dillian Whyte. So if this WBC thing doesn't work out, he's done. It's a done cause. It's a lost cause. And Young Hollywood, I'm good. I'm good. Everything is doing good, man. Everything is great, man. But yeah, I think that's it. It's a lost cause, like you said. So and that's it. You know, that's my stance on it. We just gotta wait, sit back and wait and see how this all plays out, and then go from there. All right. And I think that's it for today. Those are the 3 things I wanted to discuss, really, mainly. I've been doing a lot of talking about Jaime Munguia lately. I saw an article today. It was on Boxing Scene, and Munguia and his team basically reported that they were going to fight Carlos Adames. They wanted to fight for a February date, which is the date that Munguia is going to be returning to fight Demetrius Ballard. All right. They said that they offered the fight to Carlos Adames, and he didn't want to fight at that time. And this is the thing when it comes to that. I know as a fighter, you want to make it, you want to be in control of your own career. You don't want to wait for anyone, right? I know I've been doing a lot of talking about him, mainly about him being number 1, both at the WBO and WBC. And now we're not ever enforcing his mandatory position to fight a Charlo or Andrade. I recently said also that you called out Deverenchenko before the Adames fight. Adames wins the fight, and you don't fight Adames. Well, an article came out today basically saying, and it felt like they were replying to me, because it was like, I just said this yesterday. Munguia wanted to fight with Adames, but Adames didn't want to fight that on that day. Adames just fought in December. Okay. It's been 5 weeks, I believe, or about 5 weeks since that fight. 5 or 6 weeks. And you guys are preparing to fight in February. He probably turned it down because it was too close, and he only would have had He would have had no. He would have had to go right into camp, out right after a 2-week break. Now, I think Adames, I'm not saying he shouldn't have taken the opportunity, but that fight with Derenchenko was not an easy fight. All right. He did get some punishment. I thought he won clearly, but it wasn't an easy fight. Derenchenko gave him a good fight. So if he's not 100%, I can see why he wouldn't want to take the fight that quickly. All right. So again, I'm not getting on Munguia about that, but at the end of the day, Adames didn't duck you. It's just that you was scheduling a fight 8-9 weeks after his last previous fight. And by today's standards, that's too soon, especially when you're fighting at a world level like the way Adames fought Sergey Derenchenko. It's just really close. Really close. All right. Ray Relevo said, who's hyped for Canelo versus Durrell? Is that official? I know I said that on Twitter yesterday, but I was just joking around. You know, I don't know. I know that they're reporting that Canelo's next opponent might not be a fan favorite fight. And I just brought up the Durrell. I don't know why I said that. Durrell just popped up in my head and I said Durrell. Yeah. Yeah, Chance, I'm leaning towards Inoue winning and stopping Donaire this time around. All right. But I'm not just dismissing Donaire. I just think that's my pick. That's my pick. I'm leaning towards Inoue winning by KO this time. All right, but you just never know. Him, the one boxing says Munguia is a clown. He could fight for a title with one phone call. A joke. I agree. I mean, I'm not gonna call him a clown. I just think I don't even think it's him. You know, this is why I was saying in the video the other day. I don't think it's him. I think it's Golden Boy. You know, I've said this about like some of their fighters. I think it's Golden Boy. You know, I think they're Golden Boy in a way that they are with their fighters. Very, very calculated. You know, very calculated. I mean, most of these promoters are calculated, period. But when Golden Boy, when it comes to him, they're very calculated. They make sure that certain fighters, before they throw anyone in there, they want to make sure that their chances of winning is solid. They'll wait it out. They'll wait it out. And when it comes to Munguia, I think he's more than good enough to be in there with a Charlo or Andre. You know, whether or not you believe he can win those fights, he's more than good enough. He's proven enough to be in there with those kind. There's no reason why people are still saying, oh, he's young. He's young. He's not younger than Devin Haney. He's not younger than Ryan Garcia. He's not younger than Teofimo Lopez, who just beat Lomachenko last year. He's not younger than these fighters. All right. He's been in there. He's been a champion. He's a former champion. All right. He's won against fighters like Liam Smith. You know, he's beaten Gabe Rosado. Clearly, it was a good fight, but it was a clear win. All right. So I think he's done enough to have a middleweight championship fight. But I understand they want to keep that O on his record. He almost lost it already against the Irish fighter he fought out in Mexico, the one that Charlo knocked out. I can't think of his name, but I thought that he got a gift in that one. You know? But anyway, all right, guys, I'm out for the day. It was cool. Nice little talk. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share the video. Dirty Rag with the quick thank you for the super chat. Dirty Red says that's some BS. Somebody tell Oscar to let Munguia off the porch and fight Andre. Yeah, you know, well, Andre is going to be moving up now. Again, I think if you know, I think his mandatory was Janovic. I think Munguia and Janovic should be fighting each other for that title. I don't think it should be given to anyone. You know, I think it should be Munguia and Janovic. And if Munguia is not going to fight Charlo for that WBC title, I think he should be fighting Eubank, who's I think is the number one. All right. Hogan. Yeah, Hogan. That's what I was talking about. Hogan. Dennis Hogan. Right. All right. So I think Munguia should have been doing. I feel like I keep talking about Munguia, but I don't think anybody else is talking about him. And I think that's why I keep bringing him up. You know, I don't have a vendetta against him because I like him. And when you talk truth, people feel like you're hating. And I'm like, nah, I think he's good enough to get in these fights. It's just that no one else is saying anything about him, and he's the age where you could, I think he's like 25 at this point. When it came to Tank Davis, when he was 22, people were already saying that he should fight Lomachenko and that he was ducking Lomachenko. When it comes to Jaime Munguia, he shouldn't be being protected by Andrea Charlo, especially when you have common opponents against Charlo, like Montiel, where you blew Montiel away, but Charlo went the distance with him and struggled against him at points. He's proven that he's good enough to fight anyone at 160, but it's the risk reward thing. You're not, it's risky to fight both Charlo and Andrade. It's risky because they're tough fighters. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but if you want to be a champ, you got to go at the champ. It seems like I think they were kind of waiting around for Triple G. And I think Triple G has his own plans, which don't really include Jaime Munguia. Or maybe they do. You never know. All right. So anyway, yo, Dirty Red, thank you for the super chat. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, share the video, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. All right. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all later on or tomorrow. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.